Let me give you a short synopsis as to what's the current level of adoption. Okay. Overall, across Asia, it's 24%, which is really high. Current users of cloud, but in India, the current users are 13%, very small. But the good news is that the expected investment in the next 12 to 18 months is higher than the Asia average. Okay. And now, we also spoke to CIOs about the relevance. And they said, hey, it's very relevant to my organization. Okay, so that's one of the critical feedbacks that's been coming. Again, what we spoke about earlier, not everything should move to the cloud, right? And that's when the mission critical issue comes in, right? For a financial organization, if it is, it's just a payroll, fine, I'm okay for it to move to the cloud. It's just a CRM, I'm okay for it to move to the cloud. But if something very intrinsic to my organization, it will very well sit in my data centers. But of course, I will virtualize these data centers to be able to fully utilize my resources, right? Because again, the entire impetus for the CIO community today is to be able to do more with what you have, right? And again, let's look back at the Indian scenario. Indian CIOs are not a spendthrift, right? They like to pay when they want something new. So it's not like, okay, hey, I'm going to invest for 500 people if I have 100 people, expecting I'm going to grow to 500 in the next 3 years, right? So that's why the pay-per-use or pay-per-user subscription model is taking a lot of traction, because if you have your own data centers, it will take you a long while to have them, to integrate them, to maintain them, to be able to even decide what exactly do you want. Now, when you buy a usage-based model, right, you know what you're paying for, right? So at the back end, the data center is virtualized, it's being efficiently used, but you don't need to it's not your headache, right? So it's the way cloud computing has evolved. So we need to take a step back and understand a business perspective on cloud. Everyone's speaking about a technology perspective. Everyone's talking, hey, it's scalability, is web-based user access, is multi-tenancy. But again, as a business user, do you understand what multi-tenancy is? Right. So we need to understand the business implications of the cloud. It's plug and play, right? So we've spoken about industrialization of IT. So in your homes, you've got an electricity point. You don't care what in the background is happening, whether you're using what kind of lines are you using, what output. So what you're concerned is you plug and you get your output. So same way, right? Cloud computing is evolving. You just pay for what you're getting, right? So it's immaterial for you what version of ERP are you running in the background, and that's the critical point, is business continuity. So earlier a patch rollout, a patch management, or a version upgrade used to be 3 months, 6 months, and it's a forever process, right? And integrating all your business units is even a giant process. So today you can actually do that, seamlessly. There are a couple of questions you need to look at before you look at cloud computing. Number one is understand your IT environment, right? Understand what is core, what is mission critical, what is non-mission critical. Okay. Understand what are your limitations. The limitations is, do you have a corporate policy around what you can outsource, what you cannot outsource? So cloud computing is in a way is outsourcing your needs, right? And as a company, do you have the culture to outsource? Right. So number one, understand your IT environment. Understand the limitations in your IT environment. Third point, understand the vendors and their offerings. There's a lot in the market, right? You've got the Amazon, you've got Google, you've got EMC, you've got IBM, all offering a different stack on cloud computing. So understand what are your requirements and what are the vendors offering, and how can you draw parallels. Okay. So I've seen examples where in a government organization here in Maharashtra is using a private cloud with, of course, an on-premise data center which the organization has virtualized, but he's using an Amazon for excess computing capacity, right? And the key challenge he has is seamless integration. So this gentleman is actually replicating his payments because there is some latency in the network, right? So you need to assess these before you roll out a cloud computing environment. So now, firefighting is not what you should be doing. That's not the idea of moving into the cloud. So you need to, again, getting back, understand your IT environment, understand what are your limitations, right? Understand what are the vendors offering, and understand what you can pay, what you want to pay for, right? You might already have an SAP, right? It's not going to go away tomorrow, right? So have a phased process, right? Understand, okay, it might be a 3-year strategy wherein you move into the cloud. It doesn't need to be a 6-month strategy, right? It's a slow and steady process. It's going to be quicker for the SMBs, of course, right? Simply because they do not have the heaps of infrastructure, heaps of investments into CRMs and the ERPs, right? So it's going to be quicker and swifter for the SMBs because it'll be easier for them to integrate with what they have, right? Larger organizations, the complexities multiply in a magnitude, right? So it's just not security, it's integration, it's about SLAs. So as, let's say, for example, a big organization in the pharmaceuticals, it's got plants all across the country and all across the world, right? So, and even if one of its inventory systems goes down, the entire management is disrupted. So you need to define those SLAs. And defining those SLAs is a real critical problem, right? One of my key suggestions is for enterprises is to trust the vendor, right? Being skeptical is good, right? But to a limit, right? So, hey, guess what? They're here to do business, right? They're not here to steal your data, right? So it's very important to understand that you are supported with legal papers. You have everything in black and white. So not that he's going to run away with your data tomorrow. So trust in the psychological issue is the biggest factor impeding the growth and traction of cloud computing in the country.